Okay, hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm looking like a princess fairy because I want to do a spring TBR. And I don't know, I just thought this shirt matched the vibe. I don't know. So, how are we going to do this? Is I have here piles of books with me, as you can see. Um, and I'm going to first. I don't know. Here's the thing with my spring TBR is spring is the season that I find the hardest to define, to find things that matches it. I don't know. Summer, I feel like summer, autumn, like the fall, it's so easy to find books that fit like the fall vibe. Like any dark academia, thriller, or gothic novel immediately fall. Winter and summer, I find them like really easy to fit books into as well, but spring is the one that I struggle the most with. So it's been hard for me to sit down and actually find a list of books that I could like recommend that match the season. So how we're going to do this is first I'm going to recommend books that I've already read or that I know that I don't want to read, but I do think that they match the vibe really well, and that's this big ass pile right here. And then I'm going to talk about the books that I think that like again I find like they match and I haven't read and I want to, and that's like the smaller pile there. And then we're going to talk in general a little bit about like books that I want to get around this season, and those are mainly in my Kindle TBR. I do own some books physically that I want to read in this season, but most of the ones that I'm going to talk about are part of my Kindle TBR. And then once I'm done with the ones that I think like match the spring season, I'm just going to mention a couple of titles that I want to get around to reading in these next months. They don't necessarily scream spring to me, but I really want to read them soon. So I thought that they could also fit in here since I'm technically going to read them hopefully during the spring. Makes sense? Okay, I hope it does because I don't know, I struggled to create the list. So let's start with the ones that I've already read or I I will you're gonna see the ones that I have no interest in, but I am recommending them knowing what I'm talking about, okay? Even though I haven't read them. So okay, let's start. So first, Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I read this last year and it could also fit the summer vibe. I think this is what I mean. Like spring and summer, they sometimes coincide in my head, but this is right before they graduate for high school. So it's technically like the last semester, so spring, and it's so cute. It's so wholesome. I don't generally enjoy YA romances anymore. I don't find them a little bit too childish, but this one was so freaking cute. So if you haven't already read this book, do so. Like pick it up, and read it because it's actually like really good. I also want to clarify right here that most of the books that I'm physically going to show you now belong to my sister. Like she reads these kind of books more than I do. So for example, Better Than the Movies is her copy. I've read her copy of it, and some of the books that I'm going to talk about now that I've read her copies of them. So yeah. But next on the list, I have the Bridgertons, and these are the ones that I haven't read, and I don't think I'm going to. But I've seen the Netflix show, and I've enjoyed it so much. And I do think that Bridgertons match the spring vibe so well. Like all like the dresses that they wear and the flowers and the colors, and it's spring actually when everything is taking place, so it is perfect, I do think. And they are so short, the books. Like look at this, my sister owns the first two, and like they are so short and they are so cute as well, like the pastel colors and everything. I don't know, I do think that if you enjoy period romances and you haven't read this already, then do so in these months. And then I have another that I don't know how I'm going to hold the mic right now because I have so many books to show you right now, and these are my copies because I'm obsessed with her, and that is not other than Emily Henry. So every single book by her, it doesn't matter which one you want to read, just pick one by her and read it. And I don't care if some of her books are named Beach Read or, for example, this one, People We Meet on Vacation, because even if they take place during the summer, like Happy Place takes place during the summer, they're so good. Since they talk about books as well, most of them, like for example, Book Lovers, I do believe they match the spring vibe so well. Like, yeah, like I yeah, like read them, every single one that is out by her, and there's a new one coming out which we're going to talk about in a bit once I get it to into the books that I want to read this spring. But yeah, like I do believe that they are the perfect spring read. They could also fit the summer a summer read, like they could also fit the category of summer read. As I said, I do think that these two seasons have a little bit of overlap, but pick Emily Henry up if you haven't already, and spring is like the best reason to. I do think that you will get into like the spring feeling and mindset really quickly with her books. And now, the last books that I'm going to recommend that I have already read and I do believe with my whole heart that they are perfect for spring is a classic author, and that is none other than Jane Austen. I have these gorgeous, but when I say gorgeous, I do mean gorgeous editions of her classics. Like, look at this. The one that I just showed, by the way, was Emma. This one is Sense and Sensibility, and look at Pride and Prejudice, like, or Prejudice. Look at, like, oh my god, like, look at them. Oh my god, amazing, amazing. So I read her books last year as well. I hadn't read a single book by her before, and then last year I devoured these three. Um, and they're really good. Like, I don't know, even though they are classic and you think like maybe it's harder to understand or more boring or whatever, they are not. First of all, like, they're pretty easy to get into, and the characters and everything, and they are like the blueprint of every single romance you enjoy right now. Like, a lot of I was reading these books, and there are a lot of tropes that are really famous right now on TikTok and social media that they were made by her first. So if you want to see like the origins of the romances you enjoy nowadays, pick up Jane Austen. And I don't know, the spring gives off like cutesy classics as well. I like, as well as for me, fall is like gothic and maybe like horror classics. But a lot of classics during the fall, I think they fit the vibe really well. I do believe that the spring really fits the vibe for a classic, but like the other side of like the complete opposite. So yeah, like like romances and books written by women, basically. So for example, Jane Eyre, I think also fits in here really well, or anything by Virginia Woolf I also like, and I do think that this could be like the perfect season to get around to reading her books if you haven't. So now, those are the books that I've already read that I do believe that yeah, really match the vibe and that I own physically, so I could show you. And now for the books that I want to read that I have a physical copy of, and that okay, I've already explained this a bunch of times, so we're going to get to it. Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the last book by her that is already published, obviously, that I haven't read yet, and I can't wait. And I've been waiting because I bought two books by her at the same time during the summer. So I read the other one at the end of the year, and I do like to space them out a little bit. So yeah, but I think it's the time. I think that if I don't pick it up throughout April, I'll pick it up in May, like no questions asked. And then other books that they are technically my sisters, but Elsie Silver, Chestnut Springs, she owns the first three. She's read the first, and she told me that she would recommend it to me. And I'm intrigued, to say the least. I don't know. I haven't 100% made my mind about reading them, so I wouldn't. If I were to read them, I think it would be throughout these months, because then they could also be summer reads. But then during the summer, I get into like really heavy fantasy books, since it's when I have like the most free time to read them. So I don't think I'll get around to this during the summer, but they could, like, I don't know. I'm intrigued. I've heard only good things about these books. Okay, Flawless is going to fall. That's not what we want. Okay. Okay. So I've heard only good things talked about these books, and there are three of them in my house. So what, like, do I need any other reason to pick them up? I don't know. If you've read them and you want me to like, and you like them, put in the comments and convince me to finally pick them up, because even though I do think that they would be really fun to read. I am not 100% sure, but I if I were to pick them up, I would pick them up now. Like, yeah, either this month or the next. So make your case in the comment section, please. And finally, the other physical book that I own, well, technically this is going to represent the whole saga because this is Magnolia Parks. I have two books left, and I do believe that they fit with the spring mindset. I couldn't tell you why though. Like I could not. I don't know, but they do. So give them a chance. I know that these books, most people are thrown off of reading them because there's like the cheating trope, especially in the first one. And I also thought that I was going to hate it. You may be thinking like, why the hell did you pick it up if you thought you were going to hate it? I don't know. I needed something quick to read before Onyx Storm came out in January. That's the only reason that I was like, okay. And I had, for some reason, Magnolia Parks on my Kindle, so it's like I accidentally stumbled into this book, and was like, why? Well, like, why the hell not? Like, let's give it a chance. And oh my god, am I grateful that I gave it a chance. So please do, if you like poetic writing, and it's not poetic, but yeah, like literal, like really floral writing style with a lot of metaphors, with a lot of, if you like that kind of thing, which I love and I'm a sucker for, pick this up because it's so good. Like throughout this book, Magnolia is this you get dual point of view in Magnolia Park's books, and then in Daisy Hayes you get three points of view. But in Magnolia you get two. One of them is obviously hers, and she's constantly throughout this book thinking about how many loves do you get in a lifetime, like how many true loves do you get. And she's always thinking about it, and she comes back to it a bunch of times depending on what's going on in her life. She comes to one conclusion or another, and I loved that. That's like a silly thing that the author did to carry the book, and I thought that it was so good. So if you like stuff like that when you're reading a book, pick up Magnolia, give it a chance. Like, yeah, you're gonna be frustrated though. Like, just so you know, you're gonna hate her, hate him, especially BJ. Like, you suck, man. You truly suck. But you're also in love with them. Like, he sucks, and I want to punch him, but at the same time, I want to kiss him. I couldn't tell you why. Like, I don't know what these characters are doing to me. I don't know what this author put on the books, but this would normally be everything that I hate in a book, like frustrating characters, conversations that are not being spoken, like they do not talk, and when they talk they do not say what they need to say. um Proud characters that won't admit like what they truly want and just put their pride aside. They just don't do that, and I usually, that's traits that I hate both in books and in real life. So you would think like I'm the first one to say that I'm surprised that I liked these books as much as I'm liking them. Like every single book that I've read so far, I have to steal, I think I already said that, but just to remind you, every single book that I've read so far, 6 stars. I don't know. I cannot explain it to myself. Like like I'm not going to even try to explain it to you. Just that's the way it is. So those are the books that I own physically, and now more books that I do believe fit with the spring vibe again. I believe like cozy fantasies are the definition of a spring book because again you get like the coziness, the sun is coming out, flowers and tea and coffee and hanging out with friends and having talks, and it's like defrosting from the winter, and yeah. So Emily Wilde, I've read the first one real recently. I am rereading them with a friend, and the first one was so good, and we're going to keep buddy reading the trilogy, so I'm waiting for my friend to tell me that she wants to pick up the second one to devour that one as well, because I was so surprisingly pleased with the first one. And I do think, yeah, that a cozy fantasy is like the definition of a spring book. And then a book that came out real recently, like 20th of March recently, Sunrise on the Reaping, the newest book in the Hunger Games universe. And I don't know if I feel like that's a spring book because I want to read it now, and now it's spring, so it's by definition a spring book. Or I don't know, but there's something about books that you read when you were 14 and then revisiting their universe, either because you're going to reread them, or because a new book like this case came out and you're gonna get back into the universe. I don't know, it gives me spring vibes. Like, spring is also kind of like coming on age, and this is not a coming on age story, but it reminds me of myself when I was 14 and reading The Hunger Games and being obsessed and being in love with Katniss and Peeta and everyone in those books. So, some reason the reaping is now a spring book because I just think it fits. And if you disagree, you can't argue with the wall. And then more books that, well, are not out yet but are going to be out throughout the spring, and I do believe they fit the spring vibe real well. The first one, Fearless by Lauren Roberts, the third book, and the conclusion to the trilogy of Powerless. I don't know if it's because I'm going to actually, I have Powerless. I don't know if it's because there's flowers on the covers of the books and petals and also in Reckless. So I don't know if that's why my brain has like make the connection, or the romanticism. Romanticism is also a genre that is really springy. I began this video telling you that I don't know what spring means, but I think it just means a lot of things. So Powerless, like Fearless, is coming out the 8th of April. What are you doing? If you haven't read these books already, what are you doing? Now is the time. Now, today is the time to pick them up. Because by the time this video is out, the Fearless will come out either the next day or the day afterwards. It depends on when I finally upload this video. So, pick them up now because the third one is out, so you're going to be able to binge read the whole thing. Like, what are you waiting for? And if you've read these books and you're waiting for Fearless, then good news, it's coming out like real soon. So read it, because and it's also like really fits the spring vibe. So read it. Oh my god, read it. No, like read it. Another new release, Emily Henry, Great Big Beautiful Life, and I just can't stop smiling every time I think about it. It's coming out the 22nd of April. So just in time for you to read it in May or at the end of April, depends, and have the best time ever. I cannot wait. I have like Emily Henry hangover, like not hangover, yeah, emotional hangover after I read Funny Story. And the thing here is, I read Funny Story at the end of last year, so I don't know what I'm going to do once I finish the Great Big Beautiful Life, and I have to wait at least a year for for her next book. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what it's going to become of me. I think I'll just reread all of her books to survive the waiting. But I cannot wait for Great Big Beautiful Life. I love her writing. I love her style. I love her stories. I love her characters. I love her. I would read her shopping list. So, yeah. Great Big Beautiful Life. Now it's the time. Like, yeah, if you haven't read Emily Henry for whatever reason, if you haven't already, now is the time, because a new book is coming out, so you'll be able to read that one in time and get in the in I don't know, getting the hype with everybody else, and isn't that great? And then another author that I've actually mentioned in this video already, Taylor Jenkins Reid, is also coming out with a new release after years of not publishing anything. She's finally putting a new book out. It's called Atmosphere. It's coming out the 3rd of June, if I'm mistaken. And it's about an astronaut, and she could write about anything and I would immediately read it. I don't Yeah, Emily Henry and Taylor Jenkins Reid for me are like auto-buy authors. I don't care what they publish, I'll buy it, I'll read it, I'll consume it, I'll be obsessed and consumed by it. So yeah, cannot wait. And technically spring ends the 21st of June, so even if it's coming out the 3rd of June, it's a spring book by definition. So yeah. Okay, and now for the last category here, I'm just going to give you 3 titles. Books that I want to get around to in the following months, and the following months belong to spring, so technically spring books. I have three titles, but it's a lot of books in those titles because it's long fantasy series. The first one is The Plated Prisoner. The first one is Guild, and I don't really know the names for the other ones. I have them all in my Kindle though, so there's really nothing stopping me from picking them up instead of despite the fact that I'm reading other things right now. So as soon as I'm done with my reads, I think I'm going to pick those up because I am craving a long fantasy series that is just that I can turn my brain off with, and I think this is going to be perfect for it. So yeah, 6 titles, and it's a retelling of Midas. I think he was called the guy that turned everything into gold. Everything he touched turned into gold. So yeah, and yeah, amazing. I really want to get around to that one. And within the same lines, or I don't know because I haven't read it, but yeah, the Vampire Academy series, 6 books again, like as with the Bladed Prisoner, and I do think that's another series that I can just read, have fun, and turn my brain off for like a long period of time. Like I won't have to be thinking about what I'm going to pick next because it's 6 books, so I'm gonna be like it's going to keep me busy for a while. It's going to be fun. It's going to be silly. I'm kind of going into those sagas with the same mindset that I went into Zodiac Academy, and I had the best time of my life reading Zodiac Academy. So if those 2 series deliver half the fun and half the entertainment that Zodiac did, I'm going to be obsessed with those. So yeah. And the last fantasy series that I want to read in the following months is a duology, actually, and that's the Crimson Moth duology. The first one was Heartless Hunter or Crimson Moth, depends on if you bought the UK or the USA version. And the second book, Rebel Witch, came out in February, and I was waiting to read Heartless Hunter for until like yeah, the second one was out and it's out, so I really have no other excuse to pick it up to not pick them up now, and I'm excited for those. And it's witch and a witch hunter, so that's the trope. And I don't know, it's 2 books. I think it's going to be fun and quick. So yeah, and yeah, so that's every book that I either think would be a good spring read or that I want to read this spring, or basically. And I hope you all liked this video. And if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and everything else that you're supposed to do. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.